So, good evening. We are excited to have you here today. This is the Hangout with the Counselors. It's actually a platform where we have frank conversation on our day-to-day activities. Before we proceed, let me introduce you to other counselors. Good evening, Ms. Ejiro. Good evening, Kechi. Okay, so I can't.
Hello.
Good evening. Good evening. Okay, so today we'll be talking about why do marriages last longer then than now, right? Because in those days we have a lot of people into matchmaking, and so people don't usually know their spouses or their partners before they settle down. But right now, in a way, we have a way of getting to meet our partners. We are in on same platform. So, and marriage is still does not last. So today, ladies, we want to talk about why is it that marriages last longer then than now. So the floor is open.
It's nice having you this evening, Kemi. And in case
Good
you welcome,
evening.
I trust that it's going to be wonderful. And to all our viewers, thank you for joining us this evening. So, why do marriages last longer then than now? There are lots of reasons, but thank God it's a conversation. So, I'm just going to start with one. I feel that, or I believe that one of the reasons they last longer then than now is ignorance. Ignorance is one of them. Ignorance in the sense that over at that time, our parents, meaning men and women, husband and wife then, didn't really know so much, and in those days, there is an adage that they use. They say, what you don't know will not kill you. It's unlike now. Now that adage has changed. Now, what you don't know won't kill you. So there was a lot of ignorance, and they didn't know so much. And because they didn't know so much, they could take anything. They could give positive definition to whatever maltreating you. Your culture then has taught you as a man or a woman that see your in-laws as superior. So you don't have a say, you don't have a right, you don't, they are the ones that either gave you wife. So whatever they do to you, you take, or you are the wife, you are privileged to have been married into the family, and so whatever you see, you take. So my point is there was a high level of ignorance then. People didn't know much, and because they didn't know much, anything was fine. Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I feel because of the way relationship was then, a lot of people got married because of pressure from the society, from family. But right now, we see people getting married because of companionship. They want someone that would be there with them. They want someone who would understand them. So even if there is this understanding between partners, people still break up. But right now, I think a lot of people, especially women, understand what they want in a way, right? So, and probably the men as well understand what they want as well. So, why after marriage they get to understand themselves. So, I feel it breaks more. It does not last long now because of a lot of people are looking for companionship rather than getting married before then. They tell you, okay, as the woman, it is your duty to, it depends on the woman. The woman determines if the marriage is successful. That was the notion then, but it takes two to tango, right? So it should be the both parties agreeing to work their relationship out. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Thank you. Let's get your perspective too. NK, you are muted. You are muted. Yes. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
hello.
Hi, NK.
Hello. Okay.
Hi, we can hear you.
Yeah, you've all said so much, like so well. Adrian, I think I kind of agree with you. Even Kemi also. But like for you, Adrian, you said it has to be based on ignorance. And with the new era, enlightenment era, when enlightenment era, a lot of information are being put out there. So I think I really do agree with you 100%, and it should be based on ignorance. A lot of marriages worked out well then because they didn't know certain things. This is what they were told. This is what the belief and the value system their family from origin gave to them. This is how their mother taught them. They need to be submissive to their husband, whether good or bad. And it's because that is what they see from their mom and from their dad. So I think I kind of agree with you. As at that time, people were not opportune to speak out their mind. They were being taught to like take it in. If it's Igbo, they'll call them Ndidi and Maka. Like you just be patient as a woman, take whatever you see. And not only that, I think again, it has to do with like enlightenment, also civilization, introduction of technology. Man and a woman, they have to go hustle together. They have almost like equal roles in the family right now. The mother is not at home right now to take care of the kids and impact like good moral values on them, because she has to be also at the forefront of bringing in stuff to the home, um, cooperating with her husband together to make sure that her family doesn't lack. So I think it's also a factor, because in those days you have the mothers and the children, they have to go to the farm to assist the husband. And that also created a bonding system for the family. And through the process of working together, you can hear the mom saying, "Oh, you don't do this, you do that, but this is what you should do, blah, blah, blah." First hand education, they had to pass to their kids. So I think, yes, enlightenment, technology, and all that is also like a factor that is affecting this era, even though everything that has advantage has a disadvantage. Then we could say, based on percentage on divorce, that the percentage then was lower compared to this era. But then we cannot totally rule out the fact that even the enlightenment is also a positive part. Thank you.
Okay, I think I like it. In case you said something that I really like, and that's the direct education. Because I remember that even as young as the age of 10, you realize that when you don't sit well, they tell you, "Come on, sit down. Where is that how you will be sitting when you are a woman?" You are cooking, your mother will ask you to do something in the kitchen, and you don't do it well. Maybe you burn food or something. They take it up on you. "How will you burn this food? Is that what you will be doing when you get to your husband's house?" So that's preparation for family life, which I would call direct education. There was this mentorship, because the bonding was available, also
Yeah.
because there was less commitment for the women in terms of supporting the family. There was a lot of training. The women were homemade women. So you were there to raise the family. They were there to raise the family. They were there to make sure that the children get it right. And the culture thing, like you also said, which is true, culture has a lot to play there. The culture, in Africa, there is a way you are prepared for marital life in Africa. So as the man, you are taught that you need to have that authority. And as the woman, you are taught, besides what the Bible says for Christians, you are taught that you need to bow down, you need to submit, your husband is the king, and all of that. So I'm just trying to buttress that point you said, that marital, that direct education from the family is one of the reasons why marriage lasted longer at that time more than now. Thank you so much. I like that. Kemi?
In a way, I feel that probably because of the way things were then, most of these people, most of the older ones, does not really believe that they could achieve what the younger ones are achieving. Because I remembered when I newly got married, right? My mom, she would wake me up in the morning because she feels like as a wife, you should have woken up in the morning to do things while your husband is still sleeping. Do you understand? Because to her, that is the standard. Like a woman needs to be like a woman needs to just give so much. Do you understand? Because so most of the times you find that young people are having issues with older ones because they feel they should be a standard, right? That a woman must be this, a woman must be that. And in a way, I feel it shows the level of understanding between marriage now and then. What do you think? Do you think I'm the one that is just feeling so, or?
No, most of us, you see this our generation. I'm happy we're having this kind of conversation now, because you see this generation, this our age range below, from this our age range down, are the ones that suffer divorce the most. The older ones are still quite okay. Then for some of us that had this very good upbringing, we could still sustain it. I agree with you absolutely. For our parents, they had standard. And so what you experienced, I experienced too. There was a time, okay, like my mother came once for Omugo, and my husband just came in from work at 5 p.m. And she was saying, oh yeah, we are going to put food on the table for him now, 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 now. And I was just taking my time. She felt like I was just falling her hand. You can imagine that kind of, she's like, go and put his food on the table now. So I was trying to tell her that, Mama, see, this man has a routine. He just came in now, it's 5. He will need to take his shower. He may need to gist with me a little. Maybe at about 7 p.m., he will take his food. The food is not the first thing. And she'll argue with me, oh, you young girls, you don't understand. So, but over time, she adjusted. So the new era. So I think you're right. You're right with what you
Yes.
said.
But in a way, I feel some of these older ones are actually, I don't want to use sad, but I feel some of them are actually sad because they never thought a woman that is married could have such liberty. I don't know, like
Yeah.
they could, because I see some people, some mothers, especially older mothers, they'll tell you, oh, why did you carry your child like this? No, if you're getting married, you need to start dressing a certain way, and they're upset with that. So most of the time, you find out that in the family, you see mothers putting pressure on the younger women because they feel there must be a standard everybody must keep. So is that the reason why marriages don't last now? Because right now I feel we know our rights. Women, men, they know what they want from their spouses, from their partners. So the reason why marriages don't last is because we know too much.
Okay, Ikechi, what's your perspective?
I don't really yeah because when you say and your mom is pressurizing you, your mom wants you in this manner, your mom wants to model you in this manner, right? Now ask yourself, how you modeling your daughter?
Okay.
So if we look at it very well, in as much as we're enlightened, it's like a recycling. It's like we're recycling certain things. Now, our mother's expectation from us is this. We also expect our children. No parents wants their word to be a failure. No parents want their word to be failure. But it's just that with enlightenment, okay, like in those days, we were able to be absorb how we were being trained without like so much. Uh, no, even though if you search inside your heart, you'll be like, oh, this my mom is too mean, my mom is wicked, and all that. I remember one time one of my sister, it was her turn. It was because we were three girls, so we were taking turns. It will be the turn of this person for my mom to actually deal with very well, like model very well. So it was her turn. She was our Ada. So one day we went travel to the village, and my mom told her to go and make dinner. She was grumbling. I was behind in the kitchen. And she was like, in fact, she's tired. That she will just write, she will kill herself. But she will write a note and put it in my daddy's trouser. That is my mom, blah, 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 this and this. But, that was how she could express herself. Because if we look, the pressure parents put on their words are becoming so much. So much. Okay, I had a conversation. A girl came to my studio yesterday, so they had a makeup section on her. And after she left, they were talking to me about her that her mom, she's presently living with her grandmom. So
The network.
her mom had her outside wedlock, and they are like two presently. But the mom is still not married, you know. They don't see one way. They are always at a loggerhead. They can't live under one roof. That even in 1 week, if they stay with each other, they would have war. That even neighbors would gather for them, blah blah blah. This and that. So when they were talking to me, I was like, I think that her present life is just a result of her her reaction towards all that her mom did. Maybe her mom was too hard on her, and for her to try to resist and say, "Oh, this is me," and all that, she's like, "I can do anything with my life," and it's resulting to certain things. You get what I'm saying? But in those days, you don't see a child move out of the house. Whether they treat you right or not, you'll still stay put there. But right now, you see people that, oh, if you say you want to leave the house, they can accommodate you. You have some chalets all around Mile 2 Road. There's this particular man. What he built hotel like hostels where girls they pay daily. So that's like prostitution. So, but are there accommodation available for you outside your family house? Yes. But those days you'll be afraid. Where will I go and stay? Under the bridge. If you can't stay under the bridge, you'll be raped, you'll be molested, all those kind of things. So the fear of the outside world will even still keep you in the house. It's also the same thing in marriage. Those days they'll tell you that there's conflict between husband and a wife, and they're like, I'll throw you out of the house. And the woman will ask herself, where am I going to? My parents will not accommodate me. So the only option they have is that they have to stay in that marriage to see how it will work out. I had a friend then, she was an orphan and she got married to a guy that was very, very, very wealthy. But all 3 years of her marriage, she didn't enjoy it because she was always like, okay, my father doesn't have a hut, not to talk more of anything. So where will I go to? So when you consider all that, these are all the things. Not like the marriage was successful because they were pure happiness, like Kemi, like you said. But it's just that most of them had to just manage. They didn't have where to go. They didn't have help. But now you have institutions that are ready to help women, empower women. And the next thing you want to grab it and take advantage of it. So that's my own view.
And I think, in a way, because of the way the society right now portrays divorce, people celebrate when they're divorcing. In fact, if you want to go viral, just tell people that you're getting a divorce. You see yourself, everybody's following you. And I feel, in a way, people try to look at what other people are doing and just copy and paste. They don't want to see if it works for them. If it does not work for them, they do it the way they say it. And right now, divorce is everywhere. People talk about divorce like it's reunion. So I think that is one of the reasons right now why people just wake up and say for no reason. There are people that would divorce for no reason. They're just divorcing because hey, it's convenient, right? So I feel that is
Yeah.
one of the reasons why people are just getting divorced now because they want to go viral. They want to be like the in thing.
Okay, I have another reason. I have another perspective. Now, when we handle domestic violence issues, one of the things I have realized is that when you ask these women, they tell, why are you still there? This your spouse is so violent. Sorry, we are. It's as if we're talking
It's
more
okay.
about women, because though that's not the center of our conversation, but I can also say it's taking this direction now because we're in a patriarchal society. Right from then, well, till now, you may say in some cases a little bit reduced, but somehow it's still existing. And also, women also had the responsibility of holding the home. So that is why it's as if we're always talking about the women, the women, the women. Now, there's when those women that suffer domestic violence, when we talk to them in sessions, you begin to you ask them, okay, this person has been beating you, this person has been very, very physical with you for all this number of years now. See this scar here, see this scar here. Why have you stayed till this time? Do you want him to kill you? And there is one thing those women will always tell you. There is this common factor I have come to relate with. And that is one of the reasons why the marriages there, not because they were happier. It didn't last longer because they were happier. No, it lasted longer
Yeah.
because they didn't have options. And one of them is money, finance. Those
Yeah.
women will tell you, some of them will tell you, I don't even have transport fare to even run back to my family to ask them to help me. So some of them are just there, like in case she said something, some of them are just there trying to stay put, trying to manage because they didn't have finance, they didn't have independence. In case you said something, you talked about some kind of chalets and some kind of inn where some people can just go in to stay. Someone that does not have small money can't do that. So a woman that is totally dependent on her husband or someone else will not have anywhere else to go. Even for the men as well too, some of the men were not also treated so well in those days in their
Yeah.
marriages. But for stigmatization, they will also I could not feed me. Let the society not say I could not provide for my family. I don't want to be less than a man. So I have to stay, I have to stay, I have to take whatever it is. So some of the men also endured. But we are coming to a place from this conversation now that most marriages then lasted longer was not because they were happier. That's one conclusion. Let me not call it a conclusion, but that's one fact I'm trying to get from this conversation now. That they stayed longer, that it last was sweeter. Most time they endured. Even now, it is still the same testimony. So finance was one of the reasons why they stayed. They stayed because there was no money. So let's get
Okay,
more.
so
There are lots of reasons.
okay, so yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so another reason why people stay in marriage.
Marriage.
My voice is
My
echoing.
voice is echoing. We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you twice.
Yes. Oh, okay. I think another reason is because, like, if you look at the olden days, marriages were done based on alliance. Sometimes you want to severe a relationship between this family and the other family,
Beautiful.
and yeah, they'll be like, oh yeah, my son is going to marry your daughter, or my daughter will marry your son. Betrothed. They betrothed like in the days of Mary, Jesus, mother of Jesus, where Mary was betrothed to Joseph. you know, Ancient kind of marriage where they just come and they pay dowry, whether you give consent or you don't give consent, the marriage is there. So when you look at and when you're going, your mom can just pull you somewhere and say, don't go there and disgrace me. As you're going, no coming back. Oh. So you just know that as you're going, that there's no coming back for you. And then most of the time they do that to just what please their parents. But sometimes the marriage is a 50-50. They can be happy, they might not be happy, depending on the individuals that are involved in the marriage, and even how and third party comes to like intercede in case where they have conflict. So I think that marriage were on friendship based relationship just to keep the relationship going. So that's one factor for me that made me to know that, oh yeah, why marriages work then is because of relationship. They just want to just keep establishing that relationship and making sure that it goes on smoothly.
Okay, so
Yeah, Kemi.
I feel in those days, people who like the mothers who were ignorant, they concentrated on their children. You see that as soon as a woman gets married, she's not concerned about the man or whatever the man does, as long as she has children, and they concentrate on their children. Right now, I feel we are getting this knowledge that we think we know. I think the way we're using it in, I don't want to say in the wrong way, but I just feel like we use it out of, is it anger now? Because for mothers who, like those mothers, what they do is, for those mothers, I feel okay, I don't want to say majority, but some of them are actually frustrated. Some of them are regretting the action that they stayed, the fact that they stayed in their marriages, right? I've seen a relationship where the man and the woman, they are still together, but the way they behave, when you see them, you get irritated. Like, you've been with this person for so long. Why is that right now the both of you cannot just mix and be friends? Because the woman, one way or the other, she's still angry because she stayed. And with the way young people are doing the marriage thing, they feel so we could actually get something like this. A woman can actually be like this. A woman can go to work, can make money, can be useful for herself. Then I feel young now, in a way, we're getting it from what people say, what is trending. So you find that in some homes now, the responsibility or the role of a woman automatically disappears, and you see people, I don't know, and you see people who are not with their spouses, probably they left because of what someone said to them. Maybe probably someone said, my man cooks for me, and because your man don't cook, you leave your marriage. Or for those reasons, I feel if you leave your marriage for a reason that is not from you, or because of what someone says, you get to regret it. And we realize that a lot of families right now, you see that the role of the man or the woman is missing. In those days, you see the way the way parents bring up their children get to be responsible, take care of their things. And compared to now, where you see the role of a partner disappears completely. Do you get my point? So I feel in a way, people, the old mothers are actually, some of them are feeling frustrated, while we, the new mothers, because we've left our marriages for reasons based on what people say, we are frustrated, or we could be frustrated because of we've done something out of what people would say or do. So do you think we're getting somewhere with the fact that we know too much now? We're leaving our marriages for no reason, or for reasons that we ought to be patient with. I don't know. Like I just feel is like a 50-50 thing.
Kemi, let me respond to that. Like just to give an answer to what you just said now. One of the reasons why marriages also don't last these days is because of impatience. Impatience. And besides impatience, I will want to redefine it and call it the absence of emotional resilience. Yes, there is the absence of emotional resilience in the sense that, oh, what people took before, you know, what our parents took at that time, we can no longer take it. And if you understand, we are professional counselors. We in our specialty is marriage, so we've been through the depth of the study of marriage and family life. You will remember that in the developmental process of family life, we know that scientifically, if you stay a little longer in marriage, it is proposed that it is supposed to get better. So at the early stage, it is usually very rough. But in family life training, in marital training, you are also taught that. Okay, I think we have some comments here. The belief then was that
Yeah.
that the longer you stay in marriage, the better it will become. Perfectly, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. The belief then was that the longer you stay, really, this person just put it very right, the better it becomes.
Yeah.
But also, which we believe it is true. It is true, but that does not come to play in the absence of emotional resilience. You will agree with me that the year one, year two of that marriage, year three is usually turbulent. We are marriage counselors. You find out that it is those that are just getting into marriage that mostly seek the counseling, even more than those that have stayed for 10, 15, 20 years. In as much as some of them may not be happy, some of them may just be coping and not happy, or some of them don't have access to professional counseling, or people they can actually open up to, which is the issue of trust coming. There is also an addition in the sense that they had this resilience. They could stay. When there is an emotional shutdown, they take it, and after a while, they bounce back. Then when you say forgive is truly forgive. You feel the pain, you forgive at a time, you get better. And you realize too that over time, 5, 10 years, you get to know your spouse better. You understand the behavioral pattern of the individual. And you just find out that what makes you shout before, what makes you cringe before, what makes get really upset before, no longer happens again. They become minor issues. I can also tell you, also looking at it from that angle, that a lot of singles, divorced singles, today will tell you that if they knew, they would have stayed. Also, some of them that had remarriage, yes, some of them that have remarried, you see some men that have suffered divorce and have remarried. They'll tell you the second marriage was not better. But because of this shame, because of people who say this is a second marriage, they stay and they just try to put up, not because it is perfect. By force, they now build that emotional resilience. So they are forced to stay, So over time, staying longer, my point is there is no patience these days. People don't want to master the other person's character. People are not ready to. You hear people tell you, I can't take nonsense. How do you live with another person even Enke said something about her sister that will react in the kitchen, and that's from the same parents. You were not reacting, but your sister was not taking it lightly. That's from the same parents. So how do we look at two imperfect people from two different backgrounds coming together to live forever as a united couple? It's as if it's a plus and minus sign coming together. At some points they will need to cancel out and equate to zero and maybe start again. So it's not going to be easy. My message from this is we need to build emotional resilience for marriages to last longer now, and patience on both sides. On both sides.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel as long as you say, I can't take such thing from someone, it should be based on you, not because of someone said I cannot take, so you too, you cannot take.
No,
Because I feel that is
no.
the way it works now. Because someone said something, because one celebrity said something, because one person, you just feel that is what I was talking about when I talked about trend. You just feel this is what is
Yeah.
trendy. I cannot take this person, and people just make it look like this should be my rights. Like it's like a standard. Then it was a different form of standards, and right now it is a standard. Oh, this person, when you're getting married, your man must be like this, your woman must be like this. And at the end of the day, if your partner does not meet that standard, most people want to leave their marriages for that reason, because of standard. So as long as you know this is what you cannot take for yourself, and you know this is you talking, if you walk out of your marriage that way, then you're the one that would bear the consequences yourself. But when someone
Yeah.
tells you this is the standard and you walk according to that person's standard, you need to understand that because it is not your intention, you end up regretting your decision because it is not what you want. That is was what I was talking about when I talked about copy and paste. We like it when people say something and we want to act upon that thing the way the person said it, not looking at what works for you, what works for your partner. Do you understand? I feel a lot of people have gone into divorce and broken marriages because of what people feel, what people say, and they leave their marriages. And some people stayed in their marriages and because of what people would say as well, and they're frustrated. So I
Okay,
feel
NK.
because in
Okay, sorry, NK. I want NK to throw a light on this, what you just said now, based on marital education. I want to get your perspective, NK. Because why I say I want to get your perspective now is that you are muted. NK, you are muted.
Okay.
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 So why I'm asking NK to throw light on this, I know you have understanding about the personalities in marriage, because people will say, Kemi just said something. She said somebody's perspective, because your husband's personality may not be the same with the other person's wife's person. As the three of us are having these conversations now, we have our personalities are different,
yeah,
So I want you to, from that light, because we're also here to educate people. So I want you to say a little bit about the need for marital education. I think adequate marital education is going to kind of eradicate, if it cannot eradicate, it will kind of reduce or bring moderation into what Kemi just said, the issue of trend. If you have education, if you have marital education, do you think that people will be looking at what the other person is doing if you really understand what marriage is? So can you just let's get your view?
When you talk about education, we're also talking about enlightenment and all that, civilization.
Yes.
So let's look at the home front first.
Okay.
As a parent, do you understand
yeah,
the individuality of your children, that they're different? Do you
Mm.
handle them that you handle them
Yeah.
based on their own personality? or do you do comparison? Your brother is not this, you do like your brother, you do like your brother. So, because when you talk about marital education, you need to take it down to the grassroots. You need to take it down to where they get their first education from. Because it worked out for my sister this way, in this method, doesn't mean it's going to work out for me. And because it doesn't work out for me
Yeah.
that way, doesn't mean that I'm a terrible person or I'm a bad person. It just means that, oh, myself and my spouse were not able to understand each other, you know. So because as children, we always get this comparison at home. We always get this lashback from our parents. They want us to be like this. They have a model. They have the image of the who we should be, but they do not understand. Oh, the Creator, God created us this way and created us different because He needs species, spice in the world to make the world a beautiful place. So He may create me to be a very smiling person like me. Oh, I'm a melancholy. So He might get me is like a sanguine. See at it. See her smiling all through, you know, and Ejiro, I think the both of us we are under this category, you know. So because if we find ourselves in one home, yeah, if we find ourselves in one home, Kemi, your husband, I'm sure every time you just be smiling to even maybe you're angry, oh, but you're smiling then. You could take it, you could absorb it. But for me, when I'm angry, my face will come so squeezed and shrink and all that. And you could see it from my whole face. But it doesn't mean that, oh, this is how it should be or this is not should be. There is no standard that you can use for everybody. There's no universal standard that you can use for everybody. It's just for you. When you talk about for you to understand who you are, first things first, know your person, know who you are. Because when you were talking about when you were talking about emotional resilience and all that, with the information at hand, like at the tip of your finger, you can get any information. I just had to think back, but why is divorce rates going high? Why is the divorce rate going high? What is it? It means that if we are privileged to have such information at the fingertip, where you said in this when we started off, you said one of the reasons for successful marriage there was because of what? Ignorance. That was lack of information. If those people were ignorant, if they didn't know anything, they lacked knowledge, but we now have knowledge, and then we're not using it in the right way. I mean, then our generation we have a lot to answer. So first of all, if you want to go into marriage, I think it's important you know yourself first. You know who you are. Know what you can take and what you cannot take. I remember your friend when she was about to get married. She said, "Look, Kenke, I'm going to get a lawyer. My husband should call his own lawyer. We will state out rules. This is this. This is that. This is what I cannot take. This is what I cannot take. This is what I cannot take." And I was laughing. I was like, but if you check it, what she's saying is the fact. She went into marriage with knowledge. And right now she's happy. She's into she's a life coach, especially also in marriage. You get. So I mean, it's for you to know who you are, know what you can take, know where you're coming from. Then if you have unhealed, like if you have trauma that you need to deal with, if you have some things that you need to heal from before you get into the marriage, it's important you heal properly before you get into the marriage. So that's me for that.
Thank you, Keisha. I love that. Kemi, I think we have some questions. Kemi, we can't hear you. You're muted.
Joy, you want to read it?
Okay, I should read it. Can you
Yeah.
say, okay, is is it the number of years one stays in a marriage that is key, or being there and be happy in? Because the older generations have longer marriages, but deep down they did not enjoy marriage. So I think if the person is trying to ask, is it the number of years that matter or your happiness in the marriage that matters? Because the older generations, like from what we've been able to deduce, is that they stayed long, but it doesn't necessarily mean that because they stayed longer, they enjoyed it. So, Kemi,
Okay, can I say something?
can you answer us?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I have to break it down into pidgin now. They say no go how far the journey go, but now how well the journey go. So it's not how long, because the truth of the matter is that in a marriage, what is expected is that you're bringing birth to another generation. What are you passing down to the next generation when you stay in an abusive marriage? You're teaching the generation after you to stay in an abusive marriage. Is that what you want? So
No.
first things first, you need to ask yourself, what is your value or your belief system about marriage? Maybe you're from a very strong Christian background that don't believe in divorce and all that. You need to check it. Why are you in that marriage?
Yeah.
If it's your belief system and then you're not happy. I mean, you know what the Bible says? The Bible says that the thought of God for us is what? Thought of good and not of what? Evil. So it's either if you're not happy in your marriage, I would advise that or you take measures in finding happiness. And we are here to serve you. You can speak to any one of us. We're marriage counselor, and that's what we're here for, to help you find happiness back in your marriage. At least if you take steps like this and then you still don't get a result, I think it's for me, maybe separation would be an option.
And I feel
Kemi,
then
I don't
in
know
those
what you
days, people, yes, I feel, yes, you're completely right. I feel then in those days, what people do is they just sweep everything under the carpet. And because they sweep things under the carpet, they find out that it brings so much pain, so much frustration. But right now, we try as much as possible to say, but we need to say the right way. I feel
Good.
communication is key when you're in a relationship, especially marriage, because you need to understand where you stand. Like I tell people, because I'm young now, I'm trying to build a relationship with you. I want a situation. I have goals for the kind of marriage I want. I want a situation whereby when I'm old with you, we should be able to travel the world. We should be able to enjoy ourselves. But if I'm young and I'm struggling doing these things with you, and I know that at the end of the day, we've swept a lot of things under the carpet, I get frustrated. I can't enjoy the kind of life. I can't achieve the kind of life I want with you. Do you understand? So I feel that is why some people, that is why I'm actually not in support of you sweeping things under the carpet. You need to speak out. It does not matter what your issue is. You just need to talk about it, right? Mr. Austin, as they talked about trending cases in marriages have made or destroyed marriages. Unfortunately, people tend to easily imitate attitudes that are convenient, and that is just it. People, because of everybody wants to go viral, people imitate what other people do. And there are times those people that talk about a certain thing, that does not mean they do that. They just want people to listen to them. They want to go viral. And we are so good in copying and pasting, as like I've always said, just copy what this person says, and I want to do it because I feel that is the trend.
Yeah. You're right, Kemi. You're right. You're right. We in case she said some nice
Ejiro,
things.
what's
The
your view
effect
now?
of, yeah, I'm trying to say
Long
something.
marriage.
She okay for the lack of self-awareness and specific marital awareness is the only reason you would dance to trend. Because when I say specific marital awareness, when I understand that my marriage is specific to me, my marriage has its own design, you know, I won't look at what is trendy outside. I want to bring that into my family. What works for me? Kemi, you said something now. What works for me? There's a lot of facade these days. There's a lot of putting up. You see some women
Yeah.
just coming up, telling you it's so perfect. Meanwhile, they are the breadwinners outside, inside the house. Social media
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
finishing us. They come out, they tell you, no, I can't take any nonsense from any man. And when their
They
husband
are
come
taking
into the house, they kneel down. I've seen some men that are very egoistic outside. They are so powerful outside. And right in the home, the way they submit to their madams, even me, I will be wondering, men like this that are looking so authoritative outside in the office, everybody is bowing down and all that. And back is home, is the lamp at home. Man, why am I saying this? What we see out there most times. That's why we called this a frank conversation. We're not here to deceive anybody. We're here to tell people the way it is, tell them the truth. What you see outside
From
most
our
times,
perspective.
yes, it's may not be real. May not be real. I've I've seen quite a number of women, when they have issues with their spouse, you know what they do, Kenny? They'll post the man's picture on their DP.
What?
They'll post pictures of the two of them being together on social media. And these people, they just had a fight this morning. And if you try talking with the woman, but you posted, look, is your husband's picture that is on the DP now? Is the two of you while you four were at the beach, having nice time that you just posted, I love you with all my life and all that. And you'll be amazed that the person is telling you, I'm just putting that up so that nobody knows what I'm going through. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And so you just see that there's a lot of drama outside that people are not being frank, though some of them are being frank. Unfortunately, it is only the ones that are not working that are also announced. That's another bad part. And that's why we are here as well. It's the reasons why it's
Yeah.
not working that people
Yeah.
come out to shout. When it's working, people don't come out to tell it, to say it's working and how it is working. You understand how it is working? In case she said something
Yes.
that
To add to
go on, Kemi.
to add to what you
To add to
to
what
add
you
to what you just
to
said,
add to what you
because
just said,
people
because
when your marriage is working, so many people cannot relate to it right now. Because when your marriage is working and you post something or you say something, people start attacking you, saying all sort of things. But when you talk about, oh, your marriage is not working, you want to divorce, that is when people start liking your comment, they start posting it, they start sharing it. Because most people right now can relate to marriages that are not working compared to the ones that are working.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not a credit to marriage. It's not a credit to marital life.
Yeah.
I can still say marriage still works. For those that may be thinking, is it really true that this marriage thing can work? Yes, it can work. If you follow the principles, it can work. Somebody may be asking, oh, how do I know the principle? We just talked about marital education. We are here. We will tell you what and what you should, just even knowing yourself and knowing the person
Yeah.
you want to marry is enough principle for success, because it is pure human relations business, that is marriage. So there's a
Yeah.
question here: does the years of marriage necessarily mean success in marriage? Yes, no. Then to answer this
Yeah.
question, I will say yes, no. So yes, it could mean success. It could mean success, because first of all you will say, okay, if it's not successful, why are you still there? It could mean success for many. And I can also tell you, it is not success for many, especially for those that are managing, not marrying. For those that are managing, not marrying, it is not success for them. So, Kemi, I think we should be rounding up now. This is
Yes.
really
So
interesting.
one last, yeah. So thank you so much for those of you who joined us. Thank you. We appreciate it. So, Ejiro, one last remark before we close for the day.
Oh, why marriages don't last now? I'll say, if you remember the points we mentioned, I would say look at some of these points that we have mentioned and see where you fit into. See where you fit into and be realistic. Is it not working for you? Why is it not working for you? Seek solution. Every marriage can work if only the spouses will put in their work. If you bring your work and your spouse bring his or her work, then marriage will work. Marriage will last even longer now than it used to last before. So check out where is it not working, fix it. If you can't fix it alone, meet us. We'll help you, we'll guide you to fix it. Put in your work, let your spouse put in their work, and marriage will be a success. Thank you.
So, Nkechi, one last word, one last remark before closing.
Okay, I feel our generation can do better. Our era can do better, and the one after us, because we have a lot of information. We have lots of tools to make marriage work. They are all available for us. Our parents before us were not opportune to have this, so let's take good use and advantage of the era that we find ourselves, pick out those positive ones and throw out the negative part of it. And trust me, you'll have a happy home. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So finally, you need to understand that you need to do you. I feel if everybody knows what they want and do what works for them, I think everything would go on well. Even if you're not in your marriage or in your marriage, you know the way to face the consequences. So just do what works for you, do you, right? So thank you so much for joining us. You can subscribe to our channel. You can follow us on different social media platforms. Thank you so much and bye.
Okay, Kemi, just before you leave, there is something here that I like. I don't know if you can see it. I like this conclusion here. It says years of marriage without self-accomplishment is not a success. But on the general face, we look at marriage in this part. A long years of marriage is success. So self-accomplishment is actually a tool of success in marriage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please follow us. Follow us on our social media handles, just as Kemi said.
Yeah, and subscribe to our channel.
Yeah. We should be doing this next week, Kemi. Next week, Wednesday, Kemi.
Yes, every Wednesday, 7
Okay.
p.m. 7 p.m.
Oh,
actually to 8 p.m. Yeah.
okay, on Wednesday.
Bye.
So
Enjoy.
next week, I'm looking forward to having you here, and it's going to be a great
Okay, bye
conversation.
bye. Bye bye from me also. Thank
Bye.
you.